Hi guys, how are you? I hope you're doing well. And in this video, I want to talk about the 80-20 principle and how I think it can help you in language learning. Well, maybe you've heard about the 80-20 rule, and basically I'm not gonna deep dive too much on what it is. It's called the Pareto Principle or the 80-20 rule, and it kind of suggests that 20% of what you do will account for 80% of your results. So there are things which are more important and which account for your biggest results, right? If you think about it regarding language learning, for instance, I believe that even though I spent lots of time learning grammar at school for learning English, for instance, what brought me the biggest results was reading in English and watching series and films. And this doesn't mean that this applies to everyone in the same way, but it means that sometimes we do things that do not produce so many outputs, and then we do other things which have a bigger impact, right? You can read about this principle online. You will see that it's not only, of course, applied to language learning. Actually, it's more applied to economics and things like that. Also, there's even diet that's called like that. So this principle can be applied in different areas of your life. But today I want to talk about how I see this rule applying to language learning. So if you read about this rule in regard to language learning, most of the things you will see is that language has lots of words, like every language has lots of words, and you should focus on the words that are most used, right? Because there are words which are used every day, and there are words which are not used that often, so you shouldn't waste time on those words. Well, in general, I would say, yeah, this is true, and I try to apply it, but also you have to see what's your focus, right? If you're, for instance, an engineer, there will be vocabulary which is really important to you. Or if you're a musician, there will be vocabulary which is really basic for you and which maybe it's not important for me. So you should kind of apply it to your life situation, to what you do, to what you talk about. So, and for instance, that's what sometimes can be frustrating about certain applications or certain courses, because you learn things that you don't really care about. So for instance, I wouldn't lose my time learning the colors, learning the names of the different animals, even though those things are basic, but in my life, they are not relevant, okay? So if I apply this principle, I would just focus basically on basic things that can be used every day, even if they're not so interesting to me. Like, I mean, if I go to the supermarket, I need to, know how to pay and know the numbers and stuff like that. But I don't necessarily need to know all the names of all the animals because in my life it's not relevant. Okay, for instance, so I would say you can apply it that way. So you just focus on the most used words, but also the words that make sense for you. The same would apply to different grammar rules, I think. So there are certain grammar rules which help us to communicate and which are really basic. And if we don't know them, we are not able to communicate. Okay, so then I would say, hey, let's focus on those ones. And then keep building up, but not be like, well, I need to know all the grammar before even trying to speak, because this will mean that you won't speak probably. So you just focus on the things that are more important for your level or for the things you want to express, right? So both are kind of similar, just focus on the things that are more used and also that you will need more. So for instance, if you're learning a language for very formal context, I would recommend to focus on that, on the formal context, on not on slang, for instance, and things that you won't be using. And maybe it's better not to know so that you don't say anything inappropriate. Or if you're just learning a language to communicate with your family, well, maybe you don't have to read scientific articles in that language. Maybe you want to do it anyway because it's fun, but so it's just, having the right focus. So what do I want it for and what should I focus on, right? Then there are things that, like I already said in the beginning, for me, learning grammar, doing grammar exercises is not that useful, to be honest. for me, I came to realize that I'm a person who needs to learn through listening and through watching. I'm very audio visual, and so that's the best way for me to learn. And that's why if I focus my time on doing that, I will take more out of it than just doing grammar exercises. Also, what I came to realize as well is if I focus on reading, it can help sometimes. Like, it really depends on the person. You have to find out what is helping you to learn. For me, for instance, I've learned a lot through reading in German, for instance, but it has been only when I focus on things I really wanted to read. So the same happened actually when I was learning English and I was reading Harry Potter and just wanted to know about the story. I didn't care about English. It was just means of, reading the story. So I didn't care that much about grammar, about English. It was just, okay, if I know English, I can read the story. So I kind of, did what I could. And I understood the story globally, even though I didn't understand all the words. And so it happened also with German. But right now I'm realizing I'm using reading to improve my Russian. And at some point it was a little forced because, I don't know, I feel when I read, I feel like reading for 15 minutes and not be like, well, I'll read a page a day, which is what I'm doing with Russian. Because when I'm already getting, in the topic, then it's already time to stop reading, right? So it's not very natural the way I'm doing that, but it's just learning. So I'm having fun doing that, and it has helped me. But I came to realize that for me, audiovisual is a lot more helpful than, for instance, reading or grammar exercises. So it really depends on the person. So what I would say is focus on the words that you're gonna need, focus on the grammar structures, which are more basic and used more often, and also, focus on the context, which is important for you, and also focus on the things that you're having fun with and you feel like you learn more with. For instance, for me, watching audiovisual material is the best way to learn. It might not be for everyone. I know, for instance, Andrea was here with us in this interview not long ago, and he learns a lot by reading. He loves reading and he learns a lot by reading, so it's fine. So just focus on that, on the things that help you, and also things that are fun for you. Because if you have to force yourself, it's more difficult to learn. It's better if it's something that's fun for you, that you enjoy, and so you will stick to it. Okay, then I would like to tell you what you should not do if you want to apply the 80-20 rule. So I think this rule is not about being perfect. So you shouldn't want to be perfect in the language. So it's just about, getting what you need the most and not getting everything, right? And also part of the learning process is making mistakes. So don't worry about making them. They're, part of the process, even for little kids who are learning their first language. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's like normal. And also I think it would be important not to have unrealistic expectations. No, just because you're using this rule, it doesn't mean you'll learn the language in 1 month or in 2 weeks or whatever. You'll still need some time, but you will be skipping useless things, let's say. So you will be skipping vocabulary which is not interesting. You will be skipping a sort of exercise which is not helping you. And you will be skipping things basically that are not bringing you further. So that's the idea. Well, I don't know what you think about this rule. I'm really fascinated by it. I think it's pretty crazy that some of the time we've been using for certain things is kind of useless, and on the other hand, it's kind of, you have very focused time, which is bringing you more results. And that's what I saw with my Italian, like listening 10 minutes a day. And after a year, I'm conversational. Of course, I cannot say anything I want. I still have lots of doubts regarding grammar and things like that. But still, my goal was to be conversational, and I am. So I think that's pretty cool. So let me know what you think about the rule, how you would apply it to language learning. And if you liked it, you can leave a like, you can subscribe, you can also share this. And I hope to see you very soon in the channel. Okay guys, have a good one. Bye.